Right, welcome back. So now we're ready to install Python on a Windows 64-bit machine. Notice I just went to Google, typed Python. The first uh, category that we're seeing here, or the first choice, is the python.org website. And under it, there is downloads. So we can go straight here and click on downloads. And we could see right away what version of Python is available right now. Make sure that you're installing Python for Windows. So version for Windows. Now, if you have a Mac machine, then you'll have to click on Mac OS. If you have Linux or Unix, you're going to have to click there. Okay? All right, so I'm going to click here. And it's going to ask me at the bottom here, do you want to just save the install file or go ahead and run it after it's downloaded? I'm just going to go ahead and say run as soon as the download is complete. So I'm going to click here. Okay. So it's going to take some time. And what I'm going to do is minimize this window. And there you have it. It's right here, ready to install. Okay. So again, this is Python 3.9.7 for the 64-bit version machine, right? So one thing I like to do, a couple things. I like to customize my installation. We're going to see why in a minute. Another thing is I want to make sure that Python is on the path or an environment variable called path, okay, where I will be able to access Python no matter where I am within the directory structure or system of the operating system. So click here and then go to Customize Installation. And that's good. So it automatically, right now, have all the items that I want. Specifically, I want IDLE, which is an integrated development environment that comes with Python. Now, it's optional if you don't want to use it, since we're going to use PyCharm later on. But it's nice to have it so you can test right away if your Python on your machine is working. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hit Next. Next thing you know, I want the library, the precompiled standard library, but by just simply say install for all users, that will automatically include it. Okay. Now after that, it's going to say, where do you want to store Python? And notice the name is Python 39 for 3.9. Notice it automatically sets it up for under program files. I'm okay with that. Under program files, unless you want to store it directly under the C drive, you're welcome to do so. That's fine with me. So I'm going to go ahead and install. And since we're installing this from the internet, you get a little warning here. I'm going to say yes. And it's going to take a little bit of time here. So you just have to be patient. Excellent. So the setup was successful. And I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, close, we're good. Right? So now how do we test it? How do we make sure that it's working? Okay. There are several places you can check if Python is working on your machine. You could use the integrated development IDE that came with it. So let's go ahead and look if we can find it. Okay. And here he is under Python. So recently added. You can go over here and run this. And what you're going to get is something that looks like a terminal. Okay. What we could also here do is adjust the fonts. Let me see if I can do that here. Let me just make this a little bigger first. Configure IDLE. And we're going to make the fonts a little bigger. So I'm going to make them a little bold, a little bigger than that. So I'm going to make them about 20. That's good. And hit apply. And there you have it. Okay. So let's just close this. Right. Let me just widen this if I can. And notice these three arrows. So what it's saying is go ahead and type a command or something that is part of the syntax for Python, and it will be interpreted. Remember, at this stage, we're not compiling, so we can interpret some of the commands. So what can we do? We could do a print, something like this, welcome to CS151, right? So that's our course. And then hit enter, see if it will respond, okay? And sure enough, it printed that string that we supplied to the function print as a parameter, okay, or as an argument. So it worked here. Can we test it somewhere other places? Yeah, absolutely. So you can go to, let me just type CMD. And CMD is for the command prompt in DOS right here, okay? And we're going to do, what we're going to do now is a couple things. First, let's make sure that what version, if it sees that Python is in there, and what version is it? So you could do Python -v, and let's see what we have. Oops, it's a lowercase v here, or uppercase v. There you go. And there you have it, Python 3.9.7. Now, how do we run it? Simply type Python, and notice now I get the same prompt that I had here on this IDLE shell, right? What I have now is a DOS shell, or disk operating system shell from that Windows supplies, and it's associated with the application Python. So we can go ahead and do something like this, print, hi there. And it will do the same thing we just did before. It will print hi there. So now to exit, then you could do something like this, and that kicks you out, okay? The other one, you can close it, or you could actually save this if you want to as a file, okay? We will see that later on. What kind of files would you want to have for interpreted program written in Python? So at this stage now we know Python works. It's running in good harmony with our operating system, so we're good to go. The next segment, we will download PyCharm and try to run Python from PyCharm. I will see you then.